Hello guys, in today's project we're going to make some POKÉ-earmuffs, so stay tuned.
Aimless, silly.
Be First we need to make our earmuff stuffing. I didn't want to bore you with the making of them. I just cut an old pillow and then took a pair of scissors and rounded the top part so it will look better. And for the headband, I'm going to use this old headset I had laying around. It's a nice color and it's also very flexible. So yeah, it will look fine. So for the ear hole, I draw an outline of my own ear and I use it as a guide to cut the stuffing in the right place. So now I'm just placing the piece of paper and I'm using a purple highlighter to mark the cutting place. And then I just took my scissors and start chipping away. You can actually skip this part, but I wanted to do it because with the hole for the ear, the earmuffs are less likely to just slide off when you're wearing them. So yeah, I found out that this was the best way to do it. So yeah, now as you can see, I put an R and an L, and also an arrow, so I could actually see which way the earmuffs are pointing because they have a shape now that I cut the earpiece. And this place is this piece of cloth is the one that I'm going to use for the inside of the earmuffs. I by inside I mean the cloth that is actually going to be touching the ears. And I cut a generous amount of extra cloth so I could cut it later. And this I'm showing this because I at first I wanted to use a gray and red combination of colors. As you can see from the beginning, I didn't follow the this path, but yeah, I actually made the first earmuffs red and gray. I put the Yeah, I saw everything together, and then I realized that it wasn't a very good job. It was kind of it had the shape, a horrible shape. It wasn't circular, and it didn't look nice. So I decided to do it again, and then I realized that yeah, red and white, that sounds even better. Also looks like a pokeball, so that's a no-brainer. So yeah, I'm just showing this because it took me a lot of work and it was all for nothing. I guess I learned some things in the process, but yeah, now you can see it doesn't look round at all. It's like I don't know what it is, but it's horrible. So yeah, I just wanted to show you my hard work. At least at least make it something. Yeah, this is the final cut. I already saw the white and red together, so here I'm just measuring everything up. And yeah, remember to put the stitches on the outside when you're going to sew the circular part because we're going to flip it inside out later, so we don't want the all the stitches and cloth to be on the outside. We want it to be on the inside and look nice. So yeah, I'm now putting the pieces of cloth together. This is going to be one of the earmuffs. I'm just going to sew a circular pattern and as you can see, the outside, what would be the outside, is is pointing inwards. And here I am. Here I saw the circle. It's not a perfect circle, as you can see. This part is kind of um, kind of off, but other than that, it's just fine. Now I'm going to cut the excess of cloth. So I put those strings apart because I was planning on tie them together, but I finally didn't end up doing needing that because the the stitches hold up real nice. Didn't have to tie anything. So yeah, now I'm just cutting the excess because if you flip it out just like that, it's just going to look all lumpy and stuff. So yeah, not very nice. Now as you can see, I thought I focus was in focus, whatever. I thought I was showing my work, but actually you can see how dirty is my workbench here. I had a stain of I don't know what it is. It looks like a mug that had some sticky thing. But yeah, now I cut a little hole in the top the earmuff, and from that hole I'm going to flip the everything out. Actually, I already did. I'm sorry. I already flipped the the earmuff out. Now I'm going to use that same hole to put the stuffing inside. Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing right now, but I'm probably wasting time. I should have cut this clip from the from the whole video, but ah, maybe I missed it. What I'm doing there? Yeah, there we go. So yeah, I probably should be taking the stuff in right now. Yeah, there we go. We're going to put the left earmuff. I'm trying not to stretch the hole too much because I'm going to use a needle and a string to close it together. And I'm going to take the same hole to put the headband I showed you previously. So yeah, it's a multi-purpose hole. Now what I'm going to do is to keep the everything lined up. I'm going to use some string. Well, actually, it's not a string; it's a wire. And I'm going to attach the wire to the headset and then give it a kind of round shape so it can hold the earmuffs nicely. And yeah, here I am just twisting the metal. Nothing nothing spectacular. We can talk about something else while I'm just doing this. Like, did you lose a lot of subscribers with the YouTube subscriber purge? I didn't lose anything because I had like 12 subscribers, so yeah, I don't mind. But yeah, PewDiePie lost like 600k. It was brutal, but yeah, nothing to do about it. Probably they were just cleaning up the subscriber count from inactive people. But yeah, I always wonder what happens if I subscribe to, I don't know, a channel and then leave for uh, like 3 months and then I came back. What happens? Are my subscription going to be gone, or I'm going to keep my subscriptions? How long should I be gone for my subscription to be gone? That's an interesting question. Yeah. So I'm finishing this part. Just put the wire here. I'm not going to show you the other process because we're going to take it's going to take a long time. So yeah, probably I'm just going to show you this part, and the other one I'm going to do it off camera. But yeah, it's looking nice. I just have to, yeah, there we go. I made the other one off camera, and I'm going to sew the hose together with some needle string so it looks better.
So here we are back at the bench, and I finally finished my project. I Here we go. I like this setup because I can easily fold them together, and when I want to use them I just unfold them and there we go. So yeah, it took a little bit of work because I'm not very good with the needle, so this part wasn't, I'm not quite happy about this. This should be round and not, it should be more like this. Well, yeah, but yeah, overall they're pretty warm, comfy, and well, they look like Pokeballs, so yeah, that's a plus. So, thanks for watching, and I hope you find this tutorial useful. If not, well, let me know and I'll make another one. And see you next time. Bye.